We get asked a lot about the advantages or disadvantages of preparing a legal separation and how that compares to an actual divorce. So in a mediation, it's almost identically the same. It's going to be the same process. You're going to go through the same checklist of things and discuss the same things. The final outcome is really the big difference, and that is, in the end, you're going to have a contract of how the parties are going to divide debts and assets and handle their children, and that would be a legal separation. If it is a divorce, there is a contract as well as a decree, an order from the court that states the parties are no longer married. So why would somebody want to get a legal separation instead of a divorce? The first obvious reason is we're not really sure we want to get divorced. We still may want to try to make it work. However, we need to have an understanding of certain boundaries that need to be put in place in order for us to give our reconciliation attempt the best chance possible. So many times, think of it as a post-nuptial agreement. If we were to divorce, here's what we would agree we would do. Very, very common. We do a lot of those kinds of separation agreements. Obligations that each person would have, and it can get right down to the parenting time and parenting plan, and even include language about custody and things like that. Then, if the parties decide to divorce, they can have special language put in the separation agreement that said if the parties divorce, they stipulate, which means they agree in advance that they will roll these terms over into their divorce. Other reasons that people will get legal separations oftentimes will be for religious reasons. There are some religions that prohibit or forbid divorce, and so couples that adhere to those doctrines of their various religions will come in and have a legal separation. I've seen people remain married for financial reasons. For instance, health insurance reasons. If a couple they no longer are wanting to stay together, they're no longer in love. However, one of them has some kind of a chronic illness like sugar diabetes or something like that, and the other party has a great insurance plan. Oftentimes couples will stay married for that reason only, and they will put a separation agreement together that will outline exactly what their obligations are to each other. In terms of the cost, in a mediation, the cost is the same to prepare a mediation or a divorce agreement versus a separation agreement, because the same amount of time is spent. The documentation that is needed, there's two kinds of legal separation or separations. There's a formal legal separation that is filed with the courts, depending on the state that you live in. And there are informal separation agreements. Both of them, incidentally, are legally binding. When you agree to a contract between each of you and you sign that contract is legally binding. Of course, any contract can be challenged. But if a couple were to just scribble on a napkin certain terms that they're going to agree to on how they're going to handle their mortgage payment, that becomes a legally binding document. If they want that to be filed with the courts and recorded with the courts, there's certain documents that have to be filed in a format that needs to be followed in order for that to happen, depending on the state that you're in. So those are the main differences between a legal separation and an actual divorce.